I was born deaf, and I grew up deaf, but then I started having limited vision. At 37, I was fully blind. Now I'm 55. It was a 20-year progression of vision loss, and it started, losing peripheral vision into like a tunnel, and then it totally collapsed. I had no vision after that.
So you had time to prepare yourself to become blind?
Yes, you can say that. I did go to a training center for deaf and blind. It's called the Helen Keller National Center, and that's in New York, Long Island, New York. I was there for 8 weeks of training, 8 months of training, learned how to navigate, do different jobs, and I started the process of learning, how to navigate the world as a deaf-blind person. It took time, yes. I prepared, but, looking back on it, I also worked full-time. I worked for 6.5 years, part-time. And then I started in May of 2006. And my job, there were layoffs, and I worked on and off. It wasn't always consistent. And then in August of 2012, I started full-time work, and it has been permanent since then.
Tell me about your full-time work now. What do you do?
Oh, lots of different kinds of work. In production, I'm on the production floor. We use the deodorant pads. For the urinals, we make those.
Oh, okay.
The deodorant cakes that go in urinals. There are 2 different kinds that we make on the production floor. I work on the second floor, and we make headbands, and we put a plastic piece inside of the headband. The slings for the military rifles.
Oh, okay.
We put pieces in that sling, and we fold in envelopes to keep the.
How did you come to work at Vision Corps?
Good question. I went to that training school, as I mentioned, and OVR, the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation, is who helped me attend that training school. After I was at the training school, I came back to the Lancaster area, and OVR placed me in this position. Because the cost of living in this area, I needed a job.
Okay. What kind of work did you do before you went blind?
Well, this was a long time ago.
Okay, I understood that.
Like 87 to 92. My vision was starting to cloud, and it was starting to be harder. I worked at Good Foods in South Philadelphia. So I worked at that position, but it was dangerous on the production floor there. Things were moving very fast, and we had to fold and package and keep things moving on the line. We did package Slim Jims, different beef sticks. We wrapped things in foil. We always had to print the sell-by dates, and it was hard for me to see. My vision was starting to decline, and it was hard to see. So then I went to that training center in 1993, and I felt it was best for me to withdraw from my position because it was dangerous at my previous job. I felt like I was starting to lose control of my vision. So then I moved to the Lancaster area after my training center, and it's been a great community for me. I feel like I've gotten to interact with other deaf people in the area. There's some other deaf blind people I've met. Transportation, that is so important for people who are deaf and blind. There's senior citizens who might be in wheelchairs or people who have developmental disabilities, and door-to-door transportation is so important for us. For me to be able to accept the job here, I had to have some training in transportation and how to navigate. It's so important to have a full-time job because the cost of living and medical expenses and everything that goes into life, you need to have a job to sustain that.
And you found life easier here in Lancaster?
Yes, I've been here about 19 years. Yeah, I think it's maybe 18 years. My bad. Yeah, 18 years. 18 and a half years I've been in Lancaster. And I feel comfortable in the area. It's okay. I do feel that the transportation system for me does need to improve.
Well, what do you like to do outside of work?
I volunteer at Longwood Gardens every once in a while in the greenhouses. They have private greenhouses that the public is not allowed to go in, and I work in some of those. I really love my work there. It's beautiful in all seasons. I also enjoy model O trains, O scale trains. I enjoy setting them up. I have a display in my home, an 8 by 4 foot display. Right now it's a mess at the current moment, but I enjoy model trains.
How did you get into model trains?
Growing up, as a small boy, I always had N and HO scales, and then later I changed to the O scale. I really enjoy it. I have friends come and see my display at my house.
Oh, that's cool.
I have different expressway trains, and I also have the North Pole train. You know, from that movie?
Mm-hmm. Polar Express.
The Polar Express, yes. I have a model of that train.
I hear you like to garden as well.
Yes. Yes, I do.
What's your favorite thing to grow?
I have some space at my home. I have a little garden plot. But I've been kind of stressed and busy, so I haven't been doing that quite as much in the recent months. But I also grow flowers in the last several years at my home, and vegetables. A big garden is much too stressful. You have to be watering it and weeding it all the time. It's a lot of work, and I felt like that was causing me a little bit too much stress. And I don't want it to become a burden. I like to enjoy it.
Is it important to grow things that you can touch and understand through touch?
I typically take a person with me to go to the store to purchase the seeds. And then I plant the seeds in like a small little greenhouse. We go to Lowe's or different garden centers, Espen Shades, Garden Center, various places we'll go and get seeds.
Do you ever forget what you plant and are surprised about what grows?
On occasion. Sometimes I have issues with the bugs in the garden too, and they eat at the plants. Or they might dry up, they don't get enough water, or too much water, or, they get a downpour on them. I tried growing pumpkins and squash and different vine plants, but they didn't work so great in my area. I've had zucchini, they yielded well. I had broccoli and cauliflower, but the bugs ate at those, and yeah, they didn't produce well. I wasn't able to actually eat them, but I learned some lessons. I could tell by feeling that it wasn't a good vegetable.
I explained to a friend that I was going to interview you, and she wanted to know if knowing that you were going to lose your sight made you angry. I thought that was an interesting question.
Depression is a real thing, especially with people who have vision loss. It's kind of like if your TV broke and the picture doesn't work anymore. That's frustrating for you. And there's no surgery to fix it. I have Usher syndrome, and that's different than like retinitis pigmentosus, RP. There's different diseases, but Usher syndrome includes a hearing loss and a vision loss. So, like I said earlier, I was born deaf and then lost my vision. Some people are hard of hearing and then become blind. There's Usher syndrome, different types of Usher syndrome. Some, where you slowly lose your hearing, slowly lose your vision. But I was born deaf and then lost my vision. At the Helen Keller National Center, they, explained about different options for parents for their children.
Do you have a support group that you meet with to help with these feelings?
Yes. The Helen Keller National Center, they have a program for support service providers. It's called SSPs. and they provide support for those who are deafblind. And they have a program that teaches individuals how to support us. They did explain, that there's no surgery for my eyes, but they did talk about different health options of how to eat well, and that it's important to work. We'll have to work hard. I've learned how to read Braille. I also use the computer and have navigation systems for using the computer. So I learned a lot of technology through those supports.
What's your favorite thing to do when you're spending time on the computer?
I like talking to people. I text. I also email. I read about the weather. I use the compass to learn about different areas. Like on my phone, I can tell where I'm at. North, south, east, and west. Use that compass. I learn about different stores that I can shop at. If I'm in a store and I need to be able to find a friend, or I'm not sure where the parking lot is, I can use that compass on my phone to navigate and meet my friends. I enjoy Braille. It's difficult. It is difficult. I wish we had more computer classes here in the Lancaster area so I could learn even more technology. Amy here might be able to set up something of that sort, more computer classes and technology. Online, they have a lot of medical information on websites. I'd like to learn more about, medical things.
Where were you born?
Norristown,
Okay.
Pennsylvania. It's near Morgantown and near the Montgomery Hospital. They've now renovated the hospital. My friend told me that recently and it surprised me. But that was my hometown. Then I moved to Delco for 4 years with my parents. And then I was in New York for the training center. Then I lived in Middletown for 6 years. And then the fall of 2000, I moved to Lancaster, and I've been here since.
I'd like to know about Andy before the vision loss, what he was interested in doing, and when the vision loss happened, how did that affect it? And is he able to do all the things he used to enjoy doing?
Good questions. So when I was a small boy growing up, I was able to see. I love sports. I love football, cross country running, basketball, ice skating, hockey, swimming, running, track and field. Yeah, and definitely football, wrestling. But then when I became blind, I could not play sports anymore. I could run a little bit if I followed somebody. If I held onto a rope that they were holding onto, I could follow them. And walking, I was okay with that, and hiking. But other sports were very difficult. I could bicycle with somebody, bicycle, where two of you ride together, tandem bicycle. I've done wall climbing and ice skating. I've even gone ice skating now. Ashley, the interpreter here, has taken me. We enjoyed that. There's certain things that with my vision loss, such as outdoor activity, trimming trees, I'm not able to do that alone. I have to take somebody with me, to show me where things need trimmed, or a weed eater, certain things I can do independently, but others I can't. It's more dangerous. I did work at Temple University. I actually studied at Temple University in horticulture. I wasn't able to graduate, even though I was there for 4 years. I studied very hard. When my one teacher left, is when I couldn't see as well anymore at that point, and the lights in the greenhouses, it was just too dark for me to be able to see, and so I had to withdraw. So I couldn't see the measurements on the beakers anymore to know how much to be feeding the plants, and so at that point I decided it was best to withdraw. I went to Longwood Garden as an assistant and worked on their team. And that was a relief because I really enjoyed, working with plants. But I had to have a new life after that. The old life is in the past. I have had to make accommodations and move forward in this new life. It's different, yes, and I've had to accept that.
But going back to sports, do you follow professional sports today?
I read about them on my computer at home, on the internet, about the Eagles. Oh, they lost. And the Saints, crushed them there at the end. So close. So I do read about them. New England Patriots? Oh, yeah. We'll see. I'm not so sure.
I take it you're not a Patriots fan.
They've had so many wins. I think New England Patriots and Pittsburgh Steelers, I think many people are jealous of them. And I think Green Bay Packers also. Yeah, I think other teams are jealous of those
I'm a
teams.
Browns fan, so I'm still waiting.
Poor you. Oh, poor you. Yes, the Browns. Have mercy. Also, the Lions. The Detroit Lions, yeah. A long time ago, they've had some wins, but not in the recent times.
How long does it take you to get adjusted to a new area?
Okay, when I lived on Long Island, I lived in an apartment there, and it takes a while to be able to pay your bills, and it's expensive there. Rent was very expensive, so it's hard to afford it. Just depending on the place where you move to, things cost more, electric and groceries and an apartment and the internet, phone line, and also transportation costs and purchasing clothing. You have all those expenses. When I lived there, I had somebody who helped manage my funds, and I learned more about that and managing my money so I could budget things out. The Social Security office coordinated a balance and budget for me.
Case manager.
I had a case manager who kind of helped with.
Was your question more about navigating?
Navigating,
Yeah.
I live in a housing development area, and it's great for me. It's been good. But I still need people to help me, like a support service provider. The interpreter Ashley also does that with me, support service providing. We go to the grocery store, the pharmacy, different places to buy clothing. And other SSPs help me also. They take me different places. So I work with several SSPs. There's a state program that Marcia Drent runs that we get 10 hours a month, 15 hours a month, excuse me, to go different places with that support service provider. But, we can have more if we want, but we have to pay for that out of pocket. That's kind of difficult, It is important to have that support, to set up goals, things to look forward to. I need people to help me out and take care of me when I need the help. And also, after work, I'll take the bus, the Red Rose Transit. I use the bus to take me home. Sometimes if the driver doesn't show up, I have to go across the street and talk to them over there that I need somebody to call a driver for me to pick me up. They're always willing, but then I have to sit longer and wait. But that's life. That happens just every once in a while. The staff really helps me, and they take care of me. They look after me.
What are your goals?
More work. Independence, to be a happy individual. But I need people to assist me for that to be accomplished too. To enjoy life, to socialize with people, to be independent. Just be independent by cleaning and doing things myself, cooking, living an independent life. But having supports and working to earn money so I can have that independent life. So at some point I can retire. I see that in the future. I have to live one day at a time. And I want to enjoy where I'm at. And the courage to see that miracle happen. I'm not trying to boast or, see myself on a pedestal, but to enjoy life.
As a person that doesn't know sign language, how could I be a friend or support if I come across somebody who is blind and deaf?
Well, we use print on palms, so you'd hold your palm out like this, and you can write high, and you can, write things on there.
Very cool.
If you don't have, feel comfortable with the print on palm, I'll show you another option.
Oh no.
Oh man.
Bummer.
You want another pen?
Here, you can
Yes. Here. Thank
use
you.
mine. Wow.
Bummer. I should always keep 2 pens. Better safe than sorry if one gives out.
It says, hello, my name is Andy. I need you to help me something?
Help me.
Help me something?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you're not comfortable with the print on palm,
You can write.
paper.
All right.
So,
Yeah, but print on palm is an option.
Okay.
because you were born with your sight, I was curious to, at night when you dream, do you dream visually?
Yes, I still dream in color, and I remember colors. Yeah, I remember colors. I remember seeing things, pictures, and I remember driving around on roads and where things were at. Nowadays, though, they've built so many more malls and developments that it's harder to visualize it nowadays because I haven't seen that change. My grandparents' farm, I remember going in the barn, and it's still there. There are these huge trees, but they've since cut them down. So it's hard for me to visualize what that looks like now without the trees around the farm. I remember these huge trees. It was like a wall of trees, and they had a stone wall under the trees. And they've since taken all the trees down, knocked the wall down, and it's just flat, empty space. And it's hard to visualize that.
Where was that?
It was across from my parents' house, near Collegeville.
We're done. Thank you for sharing your story with us.
Did you enjoy it?
Oh yeah, very much.
Absolutely.
Great. I think it's important to share that.